This segment brought to you by Kansas Corn. Learn more at kscorn.com.
Whenever we talk about variety selection for dual purpose, a few of the things that we need to consider in addition to grain yield would be, well, first of all, it's forage yield. So the varieties, they have different forage yield potential that is highly related with their tillering ability. So definitely that's one of the considerations, although it might not be the most important consideration if we're going in a dual purpose situation. So the reason I say that is because nowadays many of the varieties, they have at least a fair forage yield potential. And that will be much more dependent on weather conditions. If it's a warm fall with plenty of moisture, most varieties will be good forage producers, in fact. But there are differences. So producers have this option to compare the different varieties with publication that we have at SK State. Now, other factors that producers should consider when they are selecting a variety for dual-purpose production is also the date of first hollow stem. That's important because the first hollow stem is when that growing point is about half an inch above that crown. So it's when it's going up the chute during the spring, and that's the optimal time to remove cattle from the wheat pasture. If we're grazing past first hollow stem, we're looking at anywhere from about 1 to 5% yield loss per day. So if we have a couple of weeks grazing past first hollow stem, we may be looking at 50% yield loss or more. So it's very important to remove cattle at first hollow stem. So if you have a variety that has a relatively late first hollow stem, it might not be the best forage yielding variety, but it gives maybe a few more weeks to graze during the spring. If producers are going for grain after grazing, they also need to look at the varieties' recovery potential from grazing. So we're imposing that stress to the wheat crop. We're removing leaf area. We are removing tillers. So different varieties will respond differently to that stress. Some varieties that do not have a good spring tillering potential might not do very well in those situations. So you might need to look at something that has some varieties that have good spring tillering potential to really recover from that stress that we're providing with the grazing. It's very challenging, but at the same time gives producers that flexibility of deciding to, well, just graze out if prices are conductive to that, or go for grain.
Grain sorghum is one of the most important cereal crops worldwide, and Kansas leads the nation in its production. Over the years, sorghum has been either exported, used in animal feed domestically, or for other industrial uses. Recently, its use in the ethanol market has seen tremendous growth, with 30% of domestic sorghum typically going to ethanol production. Kansas Grain Sorghum is committed to sorghum research, market development, and education. Learn more at ksgrainsorghum.org.